Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and promptly posted on the municipal public bulletin board and following the office of the municipal clerk, informing the public in time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Good evening, everyone. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor.
Okay, is Mr. Correa?
Yes, he is, but he's probably trying to park.
Mr. Renard, do you have any words this
I don't
evening?
think I have anything new, Mayor, thank you.
Does any from the council have any questions, Mr. Renard? Okay, Ms. Ariella?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Okay, any unfinished business the council has this evening? Any new business? I have a couple items. I am in receipt of a letter from the Union County, on behalf of the Union County Mayors dated December 5th, 2016, from the Union County Freeholder Chairman Bruce Burton, thanking Garwood for the submission of our 2016 Senior Focus Initiative application. The proposal will only improve physical space, enhance learning, culture, recreation, and social opportunities for those who have contributed so much to our lives and our communities. The freeholders are in the process of reviewing the application of all the communities and will be in contact with us regarding the next step in implementation of the Senior Focus Initiative early next year. As you can see, we have new holiday decorations in the council chamber. I would like to thank the ladies who did such a great job. Councilwoman Kukuro, Councilwoman Tedesco, Councilwoman Womenstock, and also, but not least, Mrs. Carol Lombardo for their fine efforts in their doings on Saturday. This Saturday, December 17th, 2016, at 11 a.m. is Mayor's Saturday to be held at Borough Hall. I have invited Council President Lee Petroselli to join me. Please come by with your thoughts, comments, and suggestions, or just come by to chat. Okay. I know there has been many questions about the current status of our county project on the corner of South and Center. The electrical installation portion of that project has been fully and successfully inspected as of today. The county is calling PSE&G to fire up the lighting fixtures, which will be fully operational at that time. The contractor then will remove all the old fixtures, and depending on the weather condition, they will install asphalt or concrete by the end of next week. If the asphalt is to be installed, it will be replaced with concrete when the weather permits. That's all I have. See that? Just in time, Mr. Burke.
I think I parked in Westfield.
Mrs. Ariella still noted that.
Are you ready for this?
Yes, we're sitting here with bated breath.
I have really don't have anything to report on except that it's unusual for this time of year, but we have to make our request to the DOT for the 2017 projects. Usually it happens in September, October, but because of the suspension of work on the DOT projects, I guess this got pushed off too. So I don't think it's due till February, Tina, is that right? But we do have a number of streets that we had carried over from last year, and I don't know whether anybody had anything new that they might want to add in as maybe a project, but I have passed these out. This is actually the list we had from last year. I can tell you what we did here from last year.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You know, I have to share. Yeah. Everybody got one?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Last year's projects that we approved that have been approved, I should say. Were the first one, Hickory Avenue east to Lexington, and the last one, West Street to Spruce to Beach. Those are all streets that we've looked at in the past, and a lot of them we've done work on already. For example, Third Avenue, Walnut to Cedar, we've done the drainage. And Hickory Avenue, East of Center, we've done the drainage. So those two streets are really ready to be paved. We usually put in somewhere around $250,000 to $300,000, so you can see the numbers.
Don, I have a question though. I know we talked about this at one point, but what about the 100 block of Spruce? Remember we talked about doing something down there?
Is that the dead end into this?
I'm just curious how much something like that, would cost, since it's such a small section.
Well, it's a little bit longer than the, you probably could do it for about $40,000.
Okay.
I mean, I'd look at numbers on it, but that's, I think I'm trying to think where there's 2 or 3 homes. I assume you put curb on both sides, even though one side is the boroughs. But I don't think you need any drainage in there. If I remember correctly, there's sufficient drainage in that area, so it would just be a, curb and pavement. And I also don't think there's sidewalk on it, at least on the residential side.
No, there isn't.
So it would be a minimum amount of work. So you probably could do that and still pick 2 of these streets and come in at just around the $280,000 to $300,000 range.
Because I know that the DPW did a lot of work on that street as far as trying to patch a lot of problem areas.
Mhm.
And I mean, for me, I think that would be a good section to clean up just because it's so close to the park. That street got beat up, quite a bit because of the project as well.
I would agree with that, for the price, good value,
What's the price though?
about 40,000.
Yeah, about 40.
There were a couple projects on here that were done, right?
Yes, the first one is not done, but it's in the works because it's a 2016 project. Hickory East of Lexington has been approved and is under DOT contract, and so is the West Street project. They're
Okay.
both will be bid early in the spring.
Isn't Third Avenue Maple to Walnut as well?
That's also done, that's correct. That was done in 15.
Okay.
So the 4 that are left are the Willow, the New, Third, and the other block of Hickory. A block of Third and a block of Hickory.
Okay.
Now, Spruce, that's east of Oak.
Move.
East of Oak, right?
The last one?
No, that was the 100 block of Spruce.
I know.
Well, but it would be east of, the block east of Oak Street.
Correct. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Personally, I think since we're just getting this tonight, and we have 2 council people elect, I'd like to take a little time on this. And if we have any other streets that we want to bring forth, Mr. Boreal, maybe we do that early January, so that we can still get these submitted by the February deadline.
Already advised Sarah.
If you can get those streets to me, I'll get your numbers right back.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr. Correa.
So, Ms. Ariano, you'll take care of that?
Yes.
Thank you.
And what is the projected completion of the rest of these streets? Do we have that?
Well, we will bid the 2016 projects, which is Hickory and West, in probably February. And those works would probably be started and completed in June, July. The other projects that were approved last year and we were kind of hung out on, which were the block of Maple to Center on Third, a block of Willow and a block of Myrtle. Those jobs, as soon as the weather breaks, because we've already bid them, the contractor is fit to do the work. The question is, do you want to do the block of Third again by the school, or do you want to wait till school gets out again? That was our plan this year, which kind of fell by the wayside when the DOT put a stamp on the project. So I don't foresee any major problems with the schools. I mean, most of the drainage is complete. The heavy work is done. One day would be a noisy day at milling, but other than that, I don't see that it would interfere with to school too much. So I would suggest, with those people in the way who've been waiting long enough,
Oh,
I
yeah.
would suggest we make it as soon as we
And everything,
can.
yeah.
Mhm. I agree with that.
Plus, we've got, the contractors are carrying a lot of work from last year, so we want to get on the list earlier. And wait, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. L'Oreal?
And these projects are, as you can see, they're a year away. We'll put this in now, the grants will probably come out in 3 or 4 months, so you won't even know you're gonna get the money until mid-year of 2016. And that's a 2017 project.
Okay.
You mean 17 to 18?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right, next year's 17.
Coming up.
It goes so quick.
All right, so 2017 to 18, all these streets will be done.
No, not all of them, because there's $600,000 worth of streets in there. So, you've got to pick, what I would say right now, you've got to pick 2 of them.
Oh, okay, all
Or-
right, I
Not
understand.
now, some of these are being done, some
Okay,
parts haven't
all
been
right, I'll
done.
get, all right,
These are just suggestion streets that
Okay.
need work.
Right.
all right, thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll continue on. Comments or matters for discussion from members of council? Councilwoman Kukrow.
I have nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Martin? Thank you. Councilman Matthew?
Yeah, Mayor. Just along the lines of what we were talking about now, and especially with 2 new council persons coming in, I think a decision needs to be made as to whether or not we're keeping up with the infrastructure of the borough by doing it at this pace. I really think that my belief is that there's a backlog of infrastructure improvements that need to be done in the borough. And it may, I think that we may need to think about that at some point. Some of these streets haven't been paved since I was born. That's a long time. And I think, I have weeds growing in the middle of my street in Hazel. And I don't even expect to see it on the list here because there are just others that are so much more in need. So I just think at some point, it might behoove the council, and I don't know if this is necessarily the right way to be doing it. And I think that maybe we need to look at it from more of a macro point of view at some point down the road. Because my belief is there's probably quite a bit of backlog on the street improvement. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Sarno?
No, nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Tedesco?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick item to follow up with what Councilman Matthew said. John, could you get the 2 new council people the maps that you gave us with the streets and what year they were last paved? I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
Would you characterize the borough's infrastructure to be backlogged?
I don't know whether you want to use the word backlog, but you probably aren't keeping pace with the number of streets you have to do. You probably, every year you've got streets, our streets are in pretty good shape, generally speaking, but, you're probably losing ground on it. Just if you figure out how many blocks we're doing, how many streets you have, and how many years it would take you to get to every street in town, it's more than 2 streets a year.
I just have a question. How much money would that take in order to try to not lose ground?
Well, I'd have to look at it and see what we've got and how many years, you've got to do it. That's what's left, for example. But, I go back 40 years, and there's streets that I know that we haven't paved in 40 years.
So if we took a map, you can actually do an analysis with this, right? You can actually take a mile of how long the street is, and you can take that section, see what year it was actually done.
But I have a map.
You have the whole map?
Everything.
I'd like to see that.
I'd like to see that too. I don't think we-
Let's give it to the whole council.
I'll make sure it's up to date, and I'll give everybody a copy.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
because I would have been working
Thank
down
you.
my street right off the bat.
Okay. I think that'll be helpful. Thanks, Tom.
Yes, thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President Bezzelli?
I'm okay, Mayor. I don't have anything.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone. Please state your full name and address. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Joe Gola, 25 Second Avenue. I'll be 3 minutes or within there. I'd like to thank, first of all, Chief Underhill, Mayor, whoever was responsible for putting up the speed limit postings in the middle of the road. Great idea, fantastic. But we do have a problem. I have paperwork, I just left work and get home to get the paperwork and pictures. Back on November the 30th, it was approximately 5:30 p.m., I happened to notice at my property line, at the western part of my property line by the lady next door, in the street, one of the things knocked over. It was run over and dragged from about 150 feet east of me, approximately, maybe 160. So I called the police department up, reported it, they sent somebody over, they put it back in place. I said, great, very good. About an hour later, I had to run over to Roosevelt Park. So I pulled out of my driveway, I'm heading down. I said, what happened to the, the sign? I don't see it. Somebody ran over it again the other way, and it wound up by Anchor and Winslow. So while they're a great idea, it didn't work. What if this was a person or a child that got hit and dragged 150 feet? I have a neighbor who couldn't make it tonight, very upset. As people in council know who he is. He has 2 young children. When I told him what happened, he was like ready to blow up. So while these were a great idea, and I think they have helped, I think we still have to come up with a better resolution for, God forbid, somebody gets hit, seriously injured, or God forbid, a life taken. But thank you for whoever was responsible. I think they are helping out a little bit.
Yes, the chief had to report it back to us, they have helped quite a bit, in miles per hour.
Yeah.
I think there's one missing over there on 4th Avenue down by the Heidi property as well. There was 2 there. There's parking on both sides of the street, so you have to slow down to nothing.
Right.
With steel bars in there, it help?
No, that'd be the worst thing.
We did recover one from Fifth Avenue. It was put in, somebody put it in for themselves in front of their own home.
On Fifth?
Really?
Really?
Oh,
Was that the one that was on 4th?
Yeah,
Wow.
so, much like people have these slow down for the children's signs out in front of their house, my children play here.
Yeah.
Someone decided they wanted this for their own.
Oh, God. Wow. I would have never
Sounds like a
something like
detective
that.
job to me.
We're dusting for prints.
Very good, chief. Anyone else?
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Bruce Patterson, 325 Bow Avenue. Just this intersection construction, could somebody tell us why it's taking so long?
Well, first of all, if I'm wrong, it was the structures themselves that had to be ordered at a major lead time. And then I know myself, when I got involved with this a week ago, it's been inspected twice already. Now it's been complete, it'll be inspected successfully, and now they're gonna call that PSE&G. To be honest too, there probably should have been asphalt before this, but within the next week or so, there will be asphalt, depending on the weather. If concrete is still good, they'll do it. If not, they'll asphalt it and they'll concrete it in the springtime.
It just seemed to be an exorbitantly long.
And you're correct.
Yeah, you're with the county and, you're an inspector. I mean, it does look like it was.
Oh, I'll agree 100% with you. No doubt about it.
But you're
Even the
saying-
county engineers would do that also.
Yeah, stanchions were long.
Oh, yeah, long lead times, yes.
Why? Were they special?
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just also that big pile of dirt on the Petro parking lot that one time, and I think Lou said, I'll jump on it, or maybe you brought it up.
I brought it up.
Yeah, you brought it up? Okay, then it disappeared, so somebody obviously did something well for the residents. But I'm just wondering, how did it show up and why?
Well, the pile of dirt that was in Petro's lot, that came from the project being done on Myrtle Way, so.
That was on Myrtle.
That came from Myrtle. Now, how it got there, I don't know.
And that was news to,
That wasn't Russo's dirt.
no, it was news to us and bigger news to Russo.
I had questioned that only because I thought it was part of the sidewalk program. I didn't know where it came from. That's how it started.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, all of a sudden it just appeared, and then it disappeared. But so
Thank God it disappeared.
Yeah, yes, you're saying some other developer just dumped it over there?
Did we ever find out who did it?
Could have been from water project on Myrtle Way, the water project, yeah.
Oh, the water
They
company.
might have had permission.
Sorry,
They don't usually dump it on private property, I imagine they had.
unless they have permission.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, we have been discussing the backlog of street construction. Maybe Don could agree or disagree, but would it make sense maybe to make some streets one way? I mean, there'd be less traffic on that street, or it would probably push to the next street. Kenilworth, you know, most of their streets are one way in certain area, only because it's very, very narrow streets. But I don't know if you guys want to talk about making streets one way.
I'd like to make one way all going out and none coming in.
Yeah.
Can we do that? Because I have no problem if they're all going out and none coming in, especially on Walnut.
All right, well, anyway, but that's a suggestion, maybe, you know, since everybody's now concerned that there's too many streets and two a year, it doesn't cut it, so that's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Seeing none? I'd like to have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved?
All in favor?
Aye.
Council like to proceed to the next meeting? Please rise for a moment of silence and salute to the flag, please.
We show them Merry Christmas.
Thank
You too, Don.
Adequate notice of this meeting is provided to the Westfield Leader and Union County local source, advertised on January 7, 2016. Notification was sent to Soil Ledger and promptly posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board and filed in the office of the Municipal Court, informing the public in time and place according to provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Mayor Lombardo?
Here?
Councilman Kukrow?
Here.
Councilman Martin?
Here.
Councilman Matthews?
Here.
Councilman Sarno?
Here.
Councilman Disco?
Here.
Council President Pepperzelli?
Here.
Ms. Ariano, minutes, please.
Regular workshop and executive session minutes of the mayor and council held on November 29, 2016. Executive session minutes of the special meeting of the special meeting held on December 6, 2016.
Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes, Mayor.
All in favor?
Except on
Aye.
the 29th, abstain on the 6th. Sorry, I wasn't there on the 6th.
That's a good reason. Ms. Ariano, communications,
New Jersey State League of Municipalities Mayor's Advisory
receive and file,
or Public Library Board of Trustees minutes.
receive and file. This evening we have no ordinances. Move on to council standing committee reports and other reports. Police, Councilman Sarno.
No report, Mayor, today. The only thing I want to add is that the police search for the next chief of police will be underway in the next couple weeks. So the committee will be convening a meeting soon to discuss that.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question on that? Or no? Personnel? No, I don't think so. On the, we'll start those interviews in the beginning of the year, I guess?
It could be, I mean, I'd like to see what we could do before the end of the year, but we have a tough schedule, so I want to talk about it with the committee and see what we could do.
I mean, will we be doing the same thing that we've done with the other things, as far as the whole
No,
council
it
interview?
should, no, just the council, and you appointed a special committee for that.
Okay, I thought we were gonna like open it up to everybody. I thought we had a lot of input last time with the financial advisors and
Well,
everything.
this is internal, for hiring, promoting internally. So I promoted, I established a committee to do that.
I think it would be a good idea to have the council as a whole interview, and I think that's a trend, and I think the councils to be commended for doing that. I really like the fact.
It's interesting, I didn't figure that.
Yeah, interviewing lawyers and financial advisors.
I know
I-
more than one, we have to publish the meeting and everything. So let the search begin as far as, your administrative meetings, and we'll take it from there.
I mean, is that what everybody agrees with? Is that, or do two people think the council as a whole should interview? I put me down as, I believe the council as a whole should interview.
I just thought we had a really good outcome. I know Councilwoman Tedisco already, we interviewed the financial advisors. We, were interviewing the rest of the professionals, and I just thought 6 heads together with the mayor gave us all a different perspective, and I think it worked out really well. I mean, I thought that we were gonna move forward that way with interviewing. Maybe I was mistaken. Was I mistaken?
I'll repeat myself again.
I mean, from my perspective, I was definitely happy to do it with the professionals. You know, as far as for the chief search, I know that's not how it was done in the past, but, you know, it's a tricky one. I defer to the mayor. I understand why committees exist too, but I also understand and, you know, was happy to interview those certain professionals with the council as a whole, but this is a bit different than that, but, you know, it's up to the mayor.
It's an internal promotion, and I think the committee that I appointed should be responsible for that selection.
I'm opposed to that. I mean, I like the idea, I like the way where your head's up, but you know, it's ultimately what we decide as a council. So I'll leave it up to anyone else that has an opinion. Whether the mayor's the committee's choice, but you know, I like to keep an open mind.
I just thought it was really nice, all of us chipping in to do the same thing. We all had a different perspective when we faced them all one-on-one to watch their mannerisms, you know, because you can't, I wouldn't see that on the outside looking in. You know, I'm not concerned about the rest of the committees or anything like that, but I just thought for interviewing, I guess I like that idea a whole lot. And I got a lot more out of it than I would have just coming out and saying what the committee suggested would be the best candidate when I can't look at them face to face.
Yeah, and if I could just bring up a point, we had, you may want to do some research and send us some articles on this. We had a fiasco last time. The committee that was in charge of doing this basically announced that a chief had been appointed about a month before we voted on it. I had to go and get the newspapers to retract that. And they went ahead and it was basically, they were taking pictures and like, okay, this is a done deal. But the council as a whole had not gone ahead and voted on it. So that was a real mess.
On this council?
On this council. Yep. So it was a real problem. And just speaking as somebody who wasn't on the committee, I just think that if you're going to be asked for your vote, I just think it's much more useful to be part of the process. And listen, it's one of the advantages of being, it's not the NYPD, it's the Garwood PD. We know all the players. Remember, we're a small governing body, we have a small town, we have small leadership with the police. Why not use that as an advantage? This is going to be somebody who is very vital to the life in this town. Police chief, to me, I've always said this is, I think, part politician, part administrator, and part policeman. And it really is not just based on how you were as a patrol officer. I think it really has a lot to do with other factors. So I just lend that institutional knowledge to you. Last time was a mess.
I just like the outcome that we had, and I think we can all agree unanimously that it really was a good outcome with interviewing, even with the council people elect. So I thought it was a great idea, and I thought we'd be able to move forward for stuff like that. That's all.
I mean, my thoughts are, because I was part of the last, the last committee, and yes, I mean, it was a little bit messy because there was a difference of opinions up here as far as whether or not we should actually have a chief of police. But as far as having the committee, I mean, if we're going to have the entire council just interview, then why even have a committee? So.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Why not just have the entire
But
council?
also, the council, the committee has to do some preliminary work with the chief before. As far as, there are certain records that the chief has put together. I think that committee should be privileged to see those, as far as resumes and things, so.
Well, I don't think the committee, aside from the interviewing, they have a lot more things as far as the committee goes, right, Councilman? So, I mean, it's not, the interview, once the interview's over, nobody else is involved in the committee, so I wouldn't think it would be overstepping anybody's bounds, just the actual.
It seems at this point we have some different opinions about it. Why don't we just talk about it at the next meeting? Sure. I think there's
Okay.
a lot of miscellaneous.
Okay,
And
all right.
we can-
Okay.
Next meeting's not till next year.
That's correct, Councilman.
Oh. All right, well, I guess I defer to the mayor, so I don't have any control over that, but that's my opinion. I like the way it worked out last time, the last few things we did. I feel like I was actually part of something, and had a little bit of input before it actually came to the vote.
Don't rule it out. You're bringing it up.
Thank-
Just one other comment on that. I mean, I'm open-minded, and I think I'd like maybe a little time to think about it as well, because we do make a lot of important decisions as a governing body, and not every decision can have the six of us meet privately, possibly with those individuals that it pertains to. So, you know, we have our committee structure for a reason, like to maybe process this more, maybe gives the mayor more time to think about it as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Public Health, Councilwoman Kukrow.
No report, Mayor. We had our last meeting a few weeks ago.
Thank you. Streets and Roads, Councilman Petrozelli.
No report.
Fire, Councilwoman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mayor. At our December 7th, 2016 meeting, the membership of Liberty Hose Company Number 1, Garwood Fire Department, elected the following officials for 2017. They were Chief Leonard Spina and Recording Secretary Robert Lawrence. And let's see, that was all on that one. And also, as far as fire activities, there were 13 incidents, 2 alarm activations, 2 fires, 1 CO alarm, 2 odor of gas, 1 motor vehicle accident, 1 burn odor, 4 mutual aid to Elizabeth, 18 hours, Linden, 12 hours, Union, 8 hours, Cranford, 6 hours, total man hours, 97 for all alarms. November meeting was 20 men, 35 hours. Drill, pre-plan, high-rise, hose evaluations, pump operations and fire attack in large volume areas. Millen Industries, 15 men, 53 hours. And public service, borough and tree lighting, 6 men, 18 hours. That's all for my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to thank the fire department for doing their Santa run this past Sunday. I don't know how many hours they took, but I know they started at 11. They probably, well, very late in the evening, so I thank them for their efforts. Finance, Councilwoman Tedesco.
No report, Mayor?
Buildings and Grounds, Councilman Matthew.
No report. I just have one question that just came to mind. Did we ever get those invoices for the repairs on the truck loop for the DPW?
There was a spreadsheet that was given out to the committee, and I don't know who else it had gone to.
I got the spreadsheet, but I asked for the itemized
the
actual
invoices.
invoices. That was the last time we spoke. But I didn't receive it yet. Because a lot of them were pretty much the same. It was like the same thing over and over and over, so I never saw a breakdown of individual things. They couldn't all be the same. That's all I was querying for that. I think you said you were working on it.
Well, actually, Mayor, is that something that you want to give out, because I know that that was.
It's a lot of detail. Do you think it's really give you a better timeline of what happened?
Well, I think the detail is what makes it most important, because, I mean, a lot of them on the spreadsheet, and I went over and over and over, they just sounded like the same issues over and over. So maybe there's different parts of the invoice as far as parts, materials, what their actual, synopsis was of the actual repairs. I mean, it could be the same thing over and over,
I think it would be a better informed council person just to look at that kind of thing,
I guess that would definitely make me a better informed council person, knowing how the truck works.
Well, add to that, we've been told publicly several times by Council President Petrozelli that these invoices were forthcoming. I think, Joe, you've been told a couple of times too, that they're forthcoming. It's now starting to be a little strange to me. There's been several months, and for closer invoices, I don't understand what the issue is.
Well, I think they said it required a lot of going back and forth through the
That
invoices.
was
So
my
we were
question.
Right, so, we were willing to be patient on it, but we're almost at the end of the year, so if we want to make it, a very educated decision going forward.
Do we get some invoices? Get some of the invoices that are up there?
I mean, it was a spreadsheet that I thought was very informative, but some people want to have the actual invoice.
I'd like to.
That was something that was brought up. It was, brought up to the office to see if, they could pull all those out. It was a year-long process, basically, to pull out all the invoices, and, quite frankly, my opinion is that it's really not needed to actually see the invoice to see, how much tire costs, how much this costs, how much, just a small piece of hose cost or something like that. We don't do this with any other department other than this year, because we have an issue with a garbage truck. And now everyone wants to see every little invoice to see how much things cost. Are we gonna try to get a better price on tires from somebody
No,
else?
I'm not talking about the actual repairs. I'm not trying to, that's what I'm looking for. And I brought this up with you in the committee meetings.
Right.
That's all I'm asking for is the actual repairs that were done in this calendar year. That's what I'm looking for.
And you've been told several times, I know I've been told, and Councilwoman Kukrow was told publicly by Council President Petrozelli. So is it now, Council President Petrozelli, you're no longer going to provide those?
It was,
No, but I mean, you did tell us.
Hang on one second, okay?
I'm just asking a
Well,
question.
hang on one second, okay, Jim, I know it's your last meeting. My intent was to bring forth, that was brought from the superintendent, to have a spreadsheet to show exactly what was done to each truck. And that's what we did. But
So-
that's not deep enough for
If I
certain
could
people.
send it to council, we're looking for 1 year?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ms. Ariane, would you please follow that through? Okay.
And Mayor, are you committing to make sure that those are
Yes,
provided?
I just told you,
Okay.
Ms. Ariane, she'll take care of that.
Thanks, Mayor.
Excellent, thank you, Mayor.
I believe that they're done. Thank you very much.
Could we also all get a copy of the spreadsheet?
That'd be, yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Ariane's spreadsheet.
I don't have it.
I have a copy in my email, like,
Just somebody email
Maybe
it to
if
me.
somebody could send it to Ms. Ariam, and then she could distribute to all of us.
I can send you a spreadsheet.
Okay. Okay, laws and license, Councilman Martin.
No report.
Thank you. Recreation, Councilman Martin.
No report.
Garbage Senior Liaison, Councilwoman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have an official report today, but I just wanted to thank the senior group for inviting me to the Westwood. It was a very nice affair. I cleaned my plate, roast beef, mashed potatoes. It's so funny. Roast beef, mashed potatoes, green beans, carrots. The brownies made these unbelievable little sleds out of candy. I built for 2. I think I was only supposed to get 1. There were 60 people at that luncheon. Patsy DeFabio's son and a friend of his provided live music. It was very entertaining. It was a lot of fun. I was very glad to attend and happy I was invited. So I want to thank them for that again.
And I would like to thank you for going through exactly what you ate.
You're welcome.
I'd just like to add one small thing. I spoke to the Girl Scout leader that provided the favors, and I told them that I'd be happy to have the girls here or go to their meeting and give them a mayor's presentation on behalf of the seniors.
That's wonderful. I'm tickled pink about that. Thank you so much. They did a lot of work putting those together.
Yes,
I
they
think
did.
one of the moms said she glued her fingers together with that glue gun 1,000 times. So I think that accommodation would be so appreciated by the girls. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Library Mayor's Representative, Council President Pezzari.
Thank you, Mayor. Hang on one second. Okay. Santa and Mrs. Claus visited the library on December 3rd. Over 45 children attended this event. On Saturday, December 10th, Adelante Alliance Immigration Info Seminar was attended by about 30 people. In January, the library will hold computer classes for seniors and coding classes for kids on the 9th, 10th, and 11th. Call the library for details. The library ongoing programs include the Knitting Club every Monday and Thursday at 10:30 a.m., book clubs Monday afternoon and Thursday evenings, bilingual knitting class every Tuesday at 10 a.m., adult craft Tuesday night, January 10th at 6 p.m., story time every Wednesday at 10:30, kids craft Wednesday, December 14th at 3 p.m., Lego Club Thursday, December 15th and 22nd at 3 p.m., movie time every Friday at 10 a.m. The Garwood Library is open Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Fridays from 9 a.m. to 4:30, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The library will be closed December 24th through the 26th. It will reopen on the 27th and close for New Year holiday, the 31st and January 1st. That's all from my report, Mayor.
Thank you. School Board Liaison, Councilman Sano.
All right, no report. I believe the next meeting is a week from today. And the reorg will be January 4th at 7:30. That's all.
Thank you. So, celebration of public events and holidays, Liaison, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. If you have not yet registered your house for the Holiday House Decorating Contest, there are still a couple more days left. Please register by emailing your address to garwoodcelebrations@garwood.org by this Thursday, December 15th. Judging will take place December 17th and December 18th. If you ordered luminaries this year, they will be available for pickup on Saturday, December 17th, between 10 a.m. and 12 noon at the Garwood Sports and Recreation Complex. Extra luminaries will be available for purchase on a first-come, first-served basis for those who were unable to pre-order. The Celebrations Committee had a great year, and the committee thanks all of the residents who participated in our events in 2016. Also, I'd like to say a big thank you to, on behalf of the borough, to Kathy Bellagio for serving as the chairwoman of the Celebrations Committee for the past 6 years. Kathy has been a true leader of this important committee that puts on many events throughout the year, from the egg hunt to movie night and much more. So thank you for all your efforts, Kathy.
Thank you.
And that's all for my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board Representative, Councilman Matthew.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Administrative Review Committee, Councilwoman Tedesco.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Historical Committee, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a very short report. The Historical Committee welcomes new members Rhiannon Stanky, Adele Lewis, Christina Ariema, and Tony Berzinger. We look forward to 2017 with our first meeting set for January 23rd. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Parking Committee, Councilman Sarno.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Ms. Ariema, Officers' Reports.
Chief of Police Bruce Underhill, monthly report for October 2016. Chief of Police Bruce Underhill, year-end report. Zoning Code Enforcement Officer Len DiStefano, monthly report for November 2016.
Do I have a motion to accept?
That's quick.
Well, you're quick.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, move on to public comment. Is anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council, please step to the microphone. State your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Bruce Patterson, 225 Full Avenue. Back on 9/23, the mayor and council had a meeting over at the school for the redevelopment, and the mayor actually asked the public to submit questions and that you would answer them. I submitted 16 questions. I also submitted an Oprah asking for what questions were asked, and you did send me that.
That's correct.
I appreciate it, of the other people, but you haven't sent me.
Well, I must admit that yours is the final draft right now. You'll have it within the next week.
Great, all right, very happy to hear.
Thank you.
Also, if possible, on the 20th, I guess you have a special meeting
That's
to
correct.
interview the professionals. Is the public invited to that?
It's a closed session.
Closed session? Okay, could you just explain to the public the format of how this meeting's going to go about?
We're going to interview professionals that we've selected at a prior meeting for the positions in the borough.
The whole council or committee?
No, the whole council will be there.
All right, and come the swearing-in ceremony.
That's correct.
You'll have these listed?
Yes, on the agenda.
I appreciate it. So I guess this is the last meeting. If this is the last meeting.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. I would like to extend my thanks for Mike Martin, Councilman Martin, and Councilman Matthew for serving on council for so many years. It got contentious at times, but, you know, valid ideas were discussed at length, sometimes a little too long. But I do appreciate the facts that, and the topics and the issues that were brought up by all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Thanks, Bruce.
Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion to adopt consent agenda, please?
So move, Mayor?
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Ariema.
Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Matthew.
Aye.
Councilman Sano.
Aye.
Councilman Tedesco.
Aye.
And Council President Pedrosa.
All right. Okay, new business appointment, planning board alternate 4, unexpired term 12/13/16 to 12/31/17, Denise Redempti. Payment of claims, Ms. Ariema.
Before you start, can I
Yes.
make a quick presentation?
Yes.
Do you mind?
No.
I'd love to do it before the end of the meeting.
Fine.
Thank you, Councilman Martin, for your service, but, you know, Jim, I just want to give you just a little token of our appreciation for your service to the borough, what you've meant to me as a mentor, and how great you've been to us and the borough. So I just want to give you a little token of our appreciation, and thank you so much for what you've done. And this is your last meeting, so just got a little something for you. All right? Thank you very much. Sir? Thank you so much.
Mayor, if I could just say a couple words
Yes.
from my last meeting. It won't take long. I just want to thank God for the strength that I've had to do the last 6 years on this council. I absolutely, and I know people didn't think I'm lying, I loved every minute of it, really, I enjoyed being a councilman from Garwood. This was the most amazing experience of my life. I want to thank the voters of Garwood for giving a kid from Brooklyn 6 years up here. I think that that's amazing. Now I'm a kid from Garwood, and I have a kid from Garwood. You know, the difference, I started coming to meetings here in 2008, 2009, and I brought my wife brought me here. And her father, having been mayor of Cranford, she kind of just told me how things were. And the difference between then and now, the meetings were short. No one really talked about much of anything. And this was as much her project as it was mine, to open this system up. And for that, I'm very grateful. The fact that we may go on too long, I think, is much better than having things done behind closed doors. And Liz, that's as much a testament to you. To have my mother become my constituent and my tenant in May of 2013. Mom, I love you. Thank you so much for everything that you did. You and Liz, I couldn't have done it without you. And I look forward to my successors, because those are the people I'm really interested in. Congratulations and welcome aboard. Jen, I look forward to breaking down the budget. I think that that is a fabulous idea. I think that that's why we have adversarial elections. I think you came to the same conclusion I did. The budget system here is broken. And I may have had different ideas about how to fix it, but you have my full support in trying to change that system. If you try to change it, you're going to run into a lot of opposition. I'd like you to know that you have my support. And Mark, I look forward to your keeping your commitment to make the redevelopment project smaller, as you said in your last video that you posted before the election. And I look forward to holding you accountable to that out of any vengeance, but because I think that's what the borough wants. I think people want that project, but they want it Garwood size. That's what I got, and again, you have my support in doing that. And my final thing, and I guess I put this on the Christmas list, the Christmas tree list. I look forward to Chief Stover in 2017. You have my vote, although I won't be voting on it. And Chief Underhill, thank you for your service. So I really want to thank the voters of Garwood. 6 years up here was a labor of love and an honor greater than I deserve. Thank you.
Ms. Ariano, payment of claims?
Be it resolved, the following claims as approved be, the same are hereby ordered paid when properly signed and verified, and the payment of payrolls as listed is hereby confirmed and ratified.
Do we have a motion to adopt payment of claims?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman Kukrow.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Tedesco.
Aye.
Council President Pedrosa.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move to adjournment. There will be a special closed session meeting of the mayor and council on Tuesday, December 20th, 2016 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct interviews for the 2017 professional services. No action will be taken. The regular meeting of the mayor and council scheduled for Tuesday, December 27th, 2016 is hereby canceled. The reorganization meeting of the mayor and council will be held Tuesday, January 3rd, 2017 in council chambers at 7 p.m. I would personally like to wish everyone this season's greetings. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. I wish you all well and see you in 2017. I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.